All right, let's get the police's response now, and I'm joined by police spokesperson Athlenda Mathe. Ms. Mathe, good evening to you, and thank you for your time. Why has police management reneged on its promise to pay the police officers the overtime pay?
Well, a very good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. Let me firstly utilize this opportunity to once again thank our men and women in blue for ensuring a safe and secure elections period. You will agree that elections took place in a safe and secure environment with no disruptions and minimal incidents reported. We have not reneged as management. As the SAPS management, we are continuously in talks with Labour, but we do concede that we are facing a number of challenges, clearly, in terms of the overtime payments. We had agreed to a special allowance, which has been paid. We are standing at 66% nationally of the special allowance that has been paid to members. We know that some members are still deployed in KZN. They haven't received their special allowance. Once they are back to their stations and various units, their payments will be processed and they will then get their special allowance. Now, Kholi, just to give you a brief background, we are faced with a challenge as the police service in terms of the numbers. You would have noticed that the population size in terms of voting has increased. The number of voting stations has also increased. But what has decreased is the budget for the police service. So going into this election, we had more than 55,000 members that were deployed. And for us to be able to follow the normal 12-hour shifts for our members that will be static at the voting stations, it would have required that we get double the number, which is more than 100,000. And our budget would then have to run into billions for this election. And that is money we do not have. So we were doing with the limited budget that has been allocated to the police for the elections. And in terms of that budget, we were only able to pay for the special allowance for the voting day. So I can confirm to you that the special allowance is being paid. Like I've indicated, we're 66% nationally. Provinces like the Northern Cape, they've already finalized their payments. The Free State, we're talking about 90% of payments that have been finalized.
Okay, so with this 66% that's now been paid to members nationally, there is the cry, though, from the union Pop Crew, which represents the police officers, that that money, yes, some of it has been paid, but it simply does not measure up because members worked between 24 hours to 36 hours in some instances. So this 66% that you say has already been paid over, does that cover these hours that I've just mentioned?
Well, Kholi, what the unions are raising are genuine concerns. And as management, we are taking it forward with the unions. We have established a task team within the Safety, Security and Sectorial Bargaining Council, and Pop Crew is a member of that particular council, where we, going into the elections, we met with the unions to discuss what we could afford going into the elections, and we agreed. We do agree and concede that the money is not enough, but we feel that it is unfair for the union to come on this platform through the media and discuss matters that should be raised within the task team. We have an open door policy with Labour, and we continue to engage them continuously. We know that the KZN management, led by the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, has already met with the unions so that we can identify gaps and see how best we take matters forward. And
Athlenda Mathe, are you still there? Okay. The connection to Athlenda Mathe seems to have broken off. I'm hoping that she may be able to connect in a few seconds or so. And you would have heard her in her last response. Is she back up? All right, the team seems to suggest that she is not yet up. Let me see if I can just try and prolong some of what she has told us thus far. And I was actually going to pick up on the question of the bargaining council because the union Pop Crew says that this agreement was actually sealed at the bargaining chamber. All right. Athlenda, I'm told that you are back. Let me just pick up on the element you've just mentioned, the bargaining chamber, which is where this agreement was signed. Pop Crew saying that collective bargaining is under threat because police management is reneging on an agreement that has been signed within the confines of the bargaining chamber. That is clearly being undermined, and it won't be for the first time that public sector unions are saying this. Are you not threatening this particular structure, this important bargaining structure?
There is no way, Oli, that SAPS management can renege from the decisions taken within this council rather. We are all signatories to the agreement, and coming into the elections, we put our matters on the table. The union did so, and we entered into an agreement and agreed on how things will be unfold going forward. So I think it's very unfair for the union to come on this platform and to want to discuss issues that we had agreed upon within the structure. This is not the platform. We do have an open door policy with unions. There is a task team going into the elections. We formed a task team that will be able to deal with disputes and concerns that arise from election deployments.
Athlenda, was there an agreed rate for special allowance or special leave? Because my understanding is that some of the officers had to forgo their leave in order to remain in their posts because of this important deployment ahead of the elections. If that was agreed upon, surely the police must make good on that promise.
Look, the well-being of our members takes first priority. And in terms of leave, all members' leave was cancelled. But all members were also advised through our internal communication platforms that if they do have leave falling within the elections period, that they should submit it, and then they would then discuss individually with their commanders after the elections on when they would be able to take their leave. So the leave issue is a non-issue because there are processes in place, there are mechanisms in place to ensure that members do take their leave after their deployments. So in terms of the special allowance, this special allowance rate has been in place for a number of years. Organized labor is aware of that flat rate that is there. They are signatories to this particular agreement, and we have discussed this issue coming into the elections on that particular platform. But yes, Xoli, we do concede that we do need to do better in terms of budget, in terms of compensation. We have identified the gaps. This is a conversation that we will take forward as management within the relevant structure to ensure that all the concerns being raised by the union are addressed.
Athlenda Mathe speaks for the South African Police Service Management. Thank you very much for your time.